Secrets of the Golden Dawn Cypher Manuscript by Carroll R. Runyon Jr. was first published in 1997, as was From Cipher to Enigma by R.A. Gilbert. They are combined in this edition, and this is of the third printing of 2014. Now, a sign of the use of such manuscript is in the 1980 to 1986 Isis-Osiris Provisional Golden Dawn Temple. So part of the Church of Hermetic Sciences Mont Salvet Temple. And we open up pretty quickly by pictures of proof that they ritually use the imagery of the lightning flash scroll, which is given more detail in an illustration. Mathrun on our right, and Sandalpun on our left. Is it the sword goes down and the flames go straight up? And we have the illustration Keter crown and Malakut kingdom and Elohim written above Keter. I'm reminded of the moon card of the tarot, and I'm wondering why the Egyptian headdress, other than the fact that the Golden Dawn kind of put things in Egyptian-wise, other than, was sort of necessary. On page 65, we have the key to the cipher from 1561. And we have reference to other ciphers, of course, mentioned in the manuscript. One of the things that we see is that there is broken English when it is rendered, and it connects to different languages, thus making it more complex. But people with the same education were presumed to know the same amounts of Italian and English and French and German and all that sort of stuff. Except in terms of honesty, it doesn't really matter whether this was something from the 1800s or whether this was from the 1950s and copied and spread about like it was from the 1800s. It, amounts to the same genius of mixing together of Enochian and Kabbalah, more from a Christian perspective than from Jewish sources, but and other sorts of mystical ideas in a style that is befitting the Golden Dawn. We have some influence from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's interesting that some Enochian is blended in. Of course, if you refer to Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly and the other scryers and what they had to write, a lot of these rituals are not necessary, but you do definitely get some Golden Dawn rituals and some idea for some rituals and structure based on these things. There appears to be some tampering with the Cypher manuscript and some associated manuscripts. Arthur Waite and Yates certainly had a role in things, but it doesn't seem as direct as if they, just copied from the poetry that we know about and included that into the rituals. Of course, it could be that there was something private that, okay, I don't release this here, but I've released this among my Golden Dawn brethren right? But who actually came up with what? That's hard to say. One of the tricks is to have openings and closings and things with multiple layers of meaning to make things sound as if they're part of other traditions. You give it sort of a biblical sort of style, and either it's symbology or whatever. The notes do mention things that are elsewhere, and they could include them in the notes. Certain poems or evocations of elementals or such that would have been hinted about by the text itself, or at least make you think of that in the text itself. We learn how to, if we did not already, to draw the various pentagrams and to do the various circles. We learn that in reference to the body, there is the reference to the divine, and the celestial is the body, much like we have this, things being created in God's image doesn't mean that God looks like this. It's that, like looking in a mirror, and in that image, things are imagined. In a way, the goal of the material or operations is to take us back before the fall, in a sense. Because the myths are about us. It's not just, okay, this happened at this time and all that stuff. The Golden Dawn influenced Aleister Crowley. But it is not theosophy. It is not Thelema. The Golden Dawn wasn't trying to bring about a new age. Now, somebody that I've mentioned on the channel was influenced by the Golden Dawn, and she has admitted it. And we find a character whose lodge name was the unicorn from outer space, mentioned in this book. Well, I don't think it was his only name. Well, it does say this was the name that he was known by amongst his Golden Dawn brethren. The unicorn from outer space. There is talk of secret chiefs, but it's not that the Golden Dawn practitioner gains a level of experience where they would be considered a prophet before they're given a charter or that sort of thing. And what are these secret chiefs anyways? It is apparent that this stuff is more on the side of Rosicrucianism than just a copy of Freemasonry. Some of the titles and ways of grades can certainly remind a person of that sort of stuff, but there's plenty of initiatic orders, and as much as they composed their own material, the Freemasons weren't entirely a novel thing, because they branched off the Knights Templar and the various builders' orders in Europe. There was the idea, like from Africa, but I'm not sure that there was any actual African origins of that. There was the Ikhwan al-Muslimin among the Sufis before even the Knights Templar, but certain diagrams will have effects that other things won't. But the importance, whether worked in a group or otherwise, is to develop the different aspects of yourself to give yourself ability, not just experience of feeling and all that in these areas.